my mother box. Boo, 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 boo. Oh my God. Oh, sorry. I don't have a gun here with me. Once again. Oh my God. Where's Luna? Oh no. Okay, well, I get to take her seat today. We had a little bit of a break here, a summer break for ourselves for 2 weeks, but we're back. Well, I'm back. We were actually going to wait until next week because of a lack of books out there. People, come on, send us books. Still waiting. I mean, I got my Terry and the Pirates, the new edition, and I'm going to show that along with the X-Men from Hickman there next week's, and hopefully another book or two. You know, what's wrong with people out there? Come on. Anyway, once again, welcome to the Library of Graphic Literature with your host Wallace Ryan and Luna, who is missing. You like the new chair of honor here? Anyway, so it's pretty warm here today, so we're going to make this a quick one if we can. But because we don't have any books, we're going to do a spotlight this week, and this week it's on who else but that amazing writer that we all love from Marvel from the 70s and 80s and into the 90s, Mr. Steve Gerber, better known as Steve Gerber. Anyway, love Steve. I've covered a few artists and I think only a couple of writers actually, now that I think about it. Don McGregor, guy I guess I could really use with more writers in the show. So let's we'll fix that right here and right now. Gerber, a native of St. Louis, I do believe. He was born in '47, and began comics. I think it was 1972. He did I think it was like 20 Daredevil, a bunch of Submariner, and all that, and you know, he was doing pretty good. I think he originally started in advertising, and he learned, as I did too, that advertising is a death horror chamber of work. And so he wanted to get out and was talking to Roy Thomas, and there it began. So it started, I think he did start out doing some editing, but it wasn't quite his bag. But the boys realized that, you know, this guy's an incredible writer. So let's get him into some writing. And to that end, one of the characters that he's most remembered for and most loved for, of course, was Man-Thing. And here is that great Man-Thing omnibus. Oh my God, this is some great pile of reading right in here. Now he didn't invent Man-Thing per se. That was Conway and Thomas. But I mean, he took over pretty quickly anyway, and he took it in a whole new way. Which was great. Geez, was it 11 or 12? I think 11 he starts with, which is also art by Gray. Yeah. Oh no, it was 11. Okay, 10 was Chaikin and Conway and all that, and it wasn't until 11, which Rich Butler actually did the pencils for, that Gerber came on. I mean, check out that cover. Look, great cover, eh? Oh, it's going to be a lot easier where it's kind of humid today. I'm going to take the dust jacket off there and put it aside. So, and the other cool thing about this too, this particular one is it's a Neil Adams cover. So anyway, we get into the bio, and it's funny, a lot of this takes place in the southern United States. It's interesting. The Man-Thing was different from Swamp Thing, because Swamp Thing was conscious and could interact with people, where the Man-Thing, for those of you who know, was just a brainless beast. You know, well, I'm not brainless, but he had no consciousness per se. He just sort of went from adventure to adventure, and very much like it was more of the Man-Thing was more the other characters who joined in on this. Oh look, Jim Sterling with Rich Buckler. So it had a very good start. do believe Gerber was also the man who, and here he starts out with Val Merrick. He was the one who came up with the whole "whatever knows fear burns at the man things touch," which is such a cool tagline. But yeah, it's and there's it concentrates on this guy Rory. I can't remember his last name. It's been a while since I read these, but I mean, it was just absolutely incredible. Val Merrick, Chick Stone, Val Merrick, and it's like I say, absolutely amazing series. I mean, fantasy, social commentary, everything thrown into one big schmozzle. Anyway, and then up here we continue on into and it's somewhere around here that we get its adventures into there. Wondar comes along, who is a cool character, and I think eventually, where is it now? Come on, people. We come up to somewhere around here anyway, is the introduction of possibly one of his greatest characters, and also one of his most unusual. Oh, come on, where is it? No, oh, here we go. This actually, he appears, I think he appeared actually in the issue before, yeah. Anyway, and here you see him falling off they're jumping from rock to rock, and Howard misses one and is sent off into the void. But he comes back later. So yeah, Gerber he had a run with Mike Plug, which was absolutely stunning. I love Mike Plug's work. This actually was one of my favorites too. This particular issue, Giant Size Man Thing, #1. Great cover too, by Plug. Plug is an amazing artist. Is an amazing artist. So continuing on and on, a couple of Giant Size Man Things, and it was great character. Loved the Man Thing. Loved the Swamp Thing too, but I also loved the Man Thing because, like I say, it was the cast of characters that went along with it that made it what it was. Now, remember, as I showed you the appearance of Howard and how he. Oh, actually, here we go. See, even an even shorter check. Here's actually the first appearance of Howard. Right there. See it? So it doesn't look quite as much as we think of him. But then, of course, he became kind of popular, and people liked him. And so when we last seen him, he was falling through the universe, and this is where his first solo adventure begins with Gorko the Man Frog. And this is cool. This is where basically, and great art here by Frank Brunner, this is where Howard lands back on Earth, and he gets to experience life firsthand. People are, of course, surprised that he's a duck, which, in a world full of superheroes, you don't think it'd be that weird. And he faces Gorko the Man Frog and takes him on and ends up getting arrested. Then we go to Giant Size Man Thing #5, and it's Hell Cow. And this is another great story. He's in jail, and the cops come in, the chief comes in to try to make some sense out of this whole insane thing, who's this guy in a duck outfit, and he starts to feel him up and realizes that, oh my god, he's a real duck. And so he basically tosses him out, and he ends up facing a vampire cow, of course, right? And in the end, he ends up killing him, and a lot of people are really disgusted by it. And then he heads off into the world. And then comes along in 1976, Howard the Duck #1, which is Frank Brunner and Steve Laiola actually on inks, who actually remains on inks for a good bit of Howard, and really added to it. Now, of course, Brunner and them, it came to a point where Brunner left for various disputes, And in steps, of all people, Gene Colan. I mean, when it happened, myself and my friend Jerry, who was a big fan and turned me on to Howard, were like, Gene Colan, we know he was great on Tomb of Dracula and all that, but what about a duck? Could he do a duck? And you know what? Could he ever? Colan's run on it, absolutely amazing. Slapdash, funny, scary. It has a bit of everything. Absolutely beautiful. Now this is the masterworks I'm showing you here. But absolutely incredible artwork all the way through. The Defender's appearance here, which we'll talk about now in a second. And this was him after that when he's running for president. So they had him run for president. You know, isn't that cool? And had this cool button. I wish I had one. That was done by Wrightson, actually, of all people. But yes, amazing artwork. Great characters. Comics like you wouldn't believe. These, I mean, Howard the Duck, still one of my favorite comics after all these years. And it's too bad, too, because I've yet to see anyone bring to Howard the magic that Gerber himself bestowed upon our daffy little duck there. Like I say, he's one of those characters that it has to be done by the original writer for it to succeed. Like Charles Schultz doing Peanuts. No one could ever conceive of Peanuts without Schultz. Same with Howard. To me, Howard just was not Howard without Gerber. No one could. I haven't seen anyone capture that. The writing, the thoughts. I mean, it's a bloody deep comic for the 1970s. Trust me there. Now, of course, he had a long career. He did Omega the Unknown for Marvel, and he ended up, of course, getting in a dispute with Marvel over Howard and took them to court. And I think it was 1982 that he lost the court. But meanwhile, he'd started doing some work for DC too. He did a couple of issues of Mr. Miracle, which were really cool. And but he also had a great run on the Defenders too. And this was absolutely amazing. He brings the Headmen into it, and it becomes a superhero comic unlike any other superhero comic. I loved this at the time, and I wasn't sure why, because Sal Buscema, I was somewhat of a fan, but it was like, why do I love this comic so much? And it was the writing. Even at that time, I wasn't even sure what it was, but that's what it was the writing. The first few issues, well, like I say, I like Buscema, but they were inked by Jim Mooney, who not a bad artist in his own right, but not one of my favorite inkers per se. But along comes Klaus Jensen to make it all right, and so it's a great comic. They bring in the Red Guardian. It's all kinds of great characters. Valkyrie, I love his interpretation work on Valkyrie. It's a guardian of earthly demise. I mean, it just never stops, it seems, right? And this is the one where you have this clown showing up shooting people in the background, and that becomes a theme throughout several of these issues. I can't even remember how it ended up. Here we have Jensen and them again. Absolutely, and Luke Cage dropping in for a visit. I love this one here, by the way. This was a great issue here. Anyway, great inking. Now, the other cool thing about this book and about Gerber's run, which I loved. Ooh, look. I actually kind of liked that Valkyrie costume. So, but yeah, continued to love it. And then there was, and then the Defenders. This was annual, great annual, of course. I think he did write the annual too, didn't he? Yeah. And this is a masterworks just filled with Gerber. Now, the other cool thing about this is the inclusion of, where's the Defenders number 41. And the cool thing about this comic is this page in particular. Everyone see this page here? Okay. This page I actually own the original art for. It's so cool. You can see the zipatone there in that last panel there. You should see the zipatone and the whiteout to create that effect. It is so cool. And the zipatone is still on the page to this day. So anyway, this is what really makes this one special for me. And then there was the other annual here. This was the, oh god, was it the Defenders? Or was it, no, it was the Howard. Yeah, it was Howard and the Defenders, the Howard the Duck Marvel Treasury Edition. Which, like I say, nicely done and all that. But I'd gotten used to seeing Gene Colan do Howard by that point. But anyway, Gerber's run on the Defenders, top notch. So yeah, he continued to work with. He actually went back to Marvel. He did a Void Indigo, which they canceled because it was much too controversial for him, which I don't understand because I can remember at the time I loved it. Anyway, he did other things. He worked in TV, stuff like that. The last thing that I can remember was the Infernal Man thing. I think it was that he did with. Oh God, who was it with? Nolan, I think it was. Anyway, I loved Steve Gerber. He showed to me and my friend Jerry that comics could be deep, comics could be introspective, comics could be making a comment on society, and comics are political. I don't care what anyone says, all art is political, and that was the cool thing about Gerber was he could get political without getting preachy and without lecturing people and without badgering people. He just was. And I think a lot of new writers these days could pick up from him. I've seen so many terrible comics that are trying to address issues and trying to do something that's just like, oh, pathetic. If you're going to address an issue, come up with the story first. The story is what does it. You start with an agenda, with a starting point like that. Oh, I'll do a comic, I know, New Warriors, and give them all cool hip names and all that. And no wonder it sucked. So, if you want to read a great writer from the 70s and 80s, without doubt, Steve Gerber. I mean, he was part of that whole Marvel wave of him, Englehart, McGregor, Munch. He just had it. They had it going on, despite not having Jack Kirby. Anyway, you got to check it out. Gerber is truly one of the gems when it comes to writing in comics. I think a lot of people could learn a lot from reading him. Now, that being said, I'm going to actually get back to work doing comics myself. I don't know if you can hear the party-like atmosphere from outside here, but today here in St. John's, Newfoundland, way off on the east coast of North America, it's what they call Regatta Day. We hold there's a special boat races down at Kitty Vitty, and it is the longest continuing sports event in North America. It's been going on, I think it's been at least 200 years, a long time anyway. Longest continuously running sporting event anyway. Except for, of course, when COVID hit. But before that, big time, so everyone's down at the lake. Not me, I'm here in my studio, sweating to death, trying to figure out how to work on this comic that I'm working on, and grooving on the Gerber. Anyway, next week, I promise you, Luna will be back, and we'll give a shot, hopefully have 2 or 3, well, I've got 2 books, hopefully have 3 books. So I kind of it's kind of weird doing a show by myself. I've really gotten used to working with Luna, and she's a lot of fun. That being said, check out next week's show. Check out, of course, my COMIX Positive site on Facebook, where I talk nicely about all the comics I love, just like I do on this show. If you want to see me unleashed, check out Thursday Comics, which is more for a mature readers show. And it's also a show where myself and my co-host Dennis Osbourne, we cut loose. We do, like I say, in this show and in my COMIX Positive, it's all talking about comics I love and stuff like that. And I prefer that to going on about stuff I hate and all that. But still, kind of have fun with the Thursday Comics because I'm so nice in all these other shows. I gotta cut loose. Gotta hand out a bit of advice. Gotta, force comics going a certain way. That being said, thank you very much for everything. Now, where did I throw that? Hang on a second. Here it is. Ta-da, ta-da. Boo, 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 boo. Like my gun, too, by the way. Boo, 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 boo. This was made for me by my good friend, Sean Huckster. And it is pretty cool, isn't it, hey? Anyway, that being said, time for me to step on out of here and see you in hopefully 7 days. Love you all. Keep on reading. Thanks for having me over. Oh no! Oh my God! Love you.